How many Premier Leagues did Van Persie win before Wayne Rooney? Who needed to be taught how to win? Van Persie needed to be taught how to win. LeBron needed to be taught how to win.
RVP will admit that as well too. I think RVP will admit that going to United almost was like an education and like standards and like what it took to be not just like an elite player but also like an elite champion.
You need to be around Rooney, Rio, Giggs. You need to be around real winners.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Rematch. It's myself, your host, Lias Bouzidi, and today we have depends actually who you support. I was about to say a fantastic game to review, but for some, this might be the darkest day of their football fandom. We are, of course, talking about Man United 8, Arsenal 2 in the 2011-12 season, and I've got two guests that I think are very, very appropriate for the occasion. On the red side, we have the return to Rematch of Culture Cams. And you know what? You've had a really good record on this channel because you haven't reviewed a Man United loss yet.
They know. Listen, I'm a cheerleader. Huh? When they want to pump the gas, bring me in.
And when they lose, they bring Adam McCall on flex.
Yeah. All the sorrow stuff.
And then on the black and blue side, which is a bit fitting because your team was beat black and blue this game, representing Arsenal today, we do have James B. Welcome back to the channel, my friend.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, this will be fun. This was fun rewatching.
We had a few representatives we could have called upon today. Turkish is, of course, a friend of the show. A few others as well, but we thought, let's bring James back in.
That's very kind. I was saying off camera, I'd love to have seen Turkish's reaction to this. So it might be worth reshooting.
You know what, for us, we obviously still want to be monetized on this channel and stuff.
Of
and we just thought that Turkish was a bit of a brand risk for today.
He probably wouldn't do it. He'd probably be out, no, I'm good. Yeah.
But let's talk about this game, right? First and foremost, I want to talk to you guys and ask you guys as two people who grew up in London, right? You grew up in London, Cam, of course, as well, too. What was this rivalry like growing up, Arsenal and Man United? Because there's always this thing going on about should they be considered rivals? They aren't geographically placed to be seen as such big rivals, but you can't escape the feelings. Yeah. What was it like growing up in London when this rivalry was really at its upper echelon?
Listen, Man United Arsenal was everything. It was everything growing up because, look, Liverpool, of course, are the big rivals football-wise. Man City are the rivals what's the word?
Geographical.
You know what I'm trying to say? Geographical. And Man United and Arsenal, it was the title rivalry. Do you know what I mean? It was the two teams that were going for the top honours, right? City growing up were in relegation zones and they had Sean Wright-Phillips and they had all these Vassell and all these guys. So for me, they were never really seen as rivals on the pitch, right? Even though, to be fair to them, City used to get results against United, even in their barren days, right? And then you look at Liverpool, they were finishing in around the top four. When I was growing up, they hadn't necessarily been in a title race as of yet, right? Until maybe around 08, 09 is when they restarted. But they had won the Champions League and stuff. So you saw the way Gerrard would play against United and stuff. You knew what it was about. But Man United and Arsenal, there's no denying that Manchester United have a massive fan base in London, right? That's one thing, right? So that is already what's causing debates in school, in class, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Henry, this, Ferguson and Wenger and blah, blah, blah. So it would always be going on. But you can't deny that it's also because they were going for trophies, right?
Yeah.
Going all the way back to when Wenger came into the country, they were basically saying, this guy from Japan and all this stuff, he's not going to come and win anything in England. And he revolutionized the Premier League, right? And he's the first one where Kevin Keegan tried a little thing and who was the Kenny Dalglish one with Blackburn, but he's the first one that came and really rustled Sir Alex Ferguson, you know what I mean? And he built a side which were competitive. He built that side in that 98 team, which is unbelievable, then to the 2002, then to 2004. So that rivalry is everything. You think about the invincible record. You think about 03, Arsenal collapsing in 03 and United clawing back towards the end of the season. You think about Arsenal being the first team to do... Were you the first team to do the double?
I don't know if we were the first, but we did it in 2002 and 2004. So
yeah, 2002.
We'd won the treble.
No, we had won the treble, innit? But maybe the first Arsenal team, I believe it was. But to do that, and that team was incredible as well. It was just a time where titles were being traded. It was being traded. We won a three-peat. Arsenal won. You give it back. It was just going back and forth. And then there was actually fire to it. Yeah. It wasn't just football. It wasn't Man City, Liverpool. Oh, at the end of the game, Pep, Klopp, you're the best man. I love you all. No, but pizza in your face. You know what I mean? Pizzagate.
Vieira and Keane.
You know what I mean? Bro, Vieira and Keane, it was everything.
I forgot about Pizzagate.
Bro, pizza, family
Yeah.
guys, he knew not to talk for 10 years.
Yeah.
He had to keep that secret. We were looking for him, bro.
The kid on celebration.
Yeah, everything about it, right, was like even the bullying of Gary Neville, like.
And you ended our unbeaten run.
Yes.
So that was another big thing. You're
But
so
everything.
right. Sorry to cut. There's so many
yeah.
plot lines. You're right about like we came in, we won the title in '98.
Mm-hmm.
Then you win 3 in a row. We finished second, I think, 3 times. But then we pick up 2 doubles in 3 years. But then you had the treble, but we had the Invincibles.
Yeah.
So there was just kind of always.
And there was always these games as well too, right? You had the game, the FA Cup semi-final between the two
Yeah.
teams. You had the
2005.
game at Old Trafford when Nasser missed the penalty. Then you had the game the following season when he redeems it. There are so many different
Yeah,
plot
dude,
lines.
iconic moments. Think about Henri's flick and volley. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That flick against Barthez and stuff. There were so many moments in this rivalry, and what I loved about it is that it was kind of contrasting. Do you know what I mean? Because we had foreign players, but we've built in a kind of British image that Ferguson is. And Arsenal are built in this foreign image, right? After the 98 team. Once it started getting into that, more of that Patrick Vieira, Henry, Pires kind of team, that Arsenal team, I promise you guys, go back and look at newspaper articles. That was the most hated team in the country, bro. Arsenal were the most hated because they were doing something very, very different. Pires, we know, is a little bit of a diver and stuff. And Henry had this kind of this French arrogance about it. That Arsenal team were very disliked. And you could see Ferguson didn't like those boys. Do you know? He didn't like that team. And you look back and go back to when Gary Neville speaks about Arsenal. Go back to when many Man United players, they always say, oh yeah, we find the 98 team. Yeah, we preferred the 90. We like that. They didn't like the characters of that 2004, 2002 with Will Todd and all them guys. They didn't like it. And I just think that rivalry carried my childhood, really. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was just, honestly, it's all you think about. You almost hated Arsenal more than you supported Man United. Do you know what I mean? Like, genuinely, if Man United lose, I'm praying Arsenal lose. And the thing is, what it used to be, right? I don't know if you guys used to do this because it's a whole different time in life.
You've been hate watching
James,
for decades.
How old are you?
I'm 30.
Okay, cool. So you remember the days of like teletext and all that type of stuff,
Yeah,
right?
a little bit. Yeah.
So it
These
used
guys
to
are
be
showing their age, by the way.
Getting the scores up on like little kind
Listen,
of green text on the black
it used
screen.
to be a time back in the day. We used to, like, it's on Match of the Day, obviously everyone knows about Match of the Day. On the weekends, sometimes you wouldn't see the results. It used to be a thing, you'd be like, I'm not going to watch the result. We're just going to watch Match of the Day.
The news wouldn't say it. They'd be like, turn away now.
Yes,
Like,
the news never used to tell you. It's not like now you go on Twitter and everything, you see everything. So Man United might be the first game and we lose or something. And I'm just praying, I'm like, Arsenal better lose. Please. I'm watching Match of the Day praying Arsenal lose. It was just, honestly, it was everything, man.
Yeah, I was quite late to the rivalry because I actually didn't get into football till 2006.
Really?
But I was really late to it.
Wow.
So I think I was about 10, 11 years. Maybe 11, 12. But I just remember things like the games I celebrated the most, or at least saw around me celebrated the most, was Fabregas's winner. No, Adebayor's winner at Old Trafford in the 1-0. That was kind of considered a bit of a shock winning that. I remember, I think you went 1-0 up with Rooney at the Emirates. Might have been the first Arsenal United game at the Emirates. And then Van Persie and Henry with the 2 late
last
goals.
game,
And those are kind of like early moments of euphoria. So I caught on quite quick, like, oh, this is a big one when we beat Man United. And then you obviously go learn about the history. But you're right. I mean, look, I do think, to be fair, Pep and Klopp have had an amazing era. But Klopp achieved so much, but there's something to be said for he got one title over Pep. Whereas at least with Wenger and Fergie, which Fergie won one more, there was something there in those back and forth. So it was a great time. I wish I'd watched it more in the way I watch football now. Yeah, it was a great time.
So my highlight, I would say, right, of Man United Arsenal was obviously the Invincible game, right? But I remember that specifically because it was October the 24th. You guys might think I'm weirdo, but it was October the 24th, 2005, right? So October 24th, 2005. And it was Rooney's birthday. It was my birthday. The week is before. I'm the 18th of October. So I was celebrating.
On the 20th. Happy birthday.
Your 20th, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, no, October, babies. There we go. And then I celebrated my birthday that weekend first ever time I had a limo party. Limo, you know what I mean? Limo party.
In 2005.
In 2005, yeah, my dad had a friend that had a limo company, yeah. So
This guy was balling from young, man.
We
Fair.
drove around.
13th birthday
That's
party,
making me
huh?
sound like I'm like, came from a rich family. I didn't come from, I came from poverty.
You also sound like a baller, man. What were you, 9 years old at this point?
It was a limo party. We were driving around London. We stopped at a Pizza Hut, blah, blah, blah. We got back home, right? We got back home.
day.
Man United Arsenal was on. So I have like 10, 15 friends all watching this game together, and we're kids, you know what I mean? Young kids, and we're watching. This is the Invincibles. This isn't no Arsenal, like it's the Invincibles. And then to go and win that game, it's definitely, that is probably my favorite Man United game of all time. Like,
Yeah, it was a
just
scandalous
such a memory.
win, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's debatable, you know what I mean? It's debatable if it's scandalous, but
Release the tapes.
Definitely Rooney died, but what
I seen recently,
what
though,
game.
Cristiano Ronaldo penalty that didn't get given that same game, though, so...
No, I never saw it.
Hey, history gets told by the...
I'll have to
Ashley
watch that
Cole had
back,
a
yeah.
bad tackle in that game too, as well. So
Yes, my people, the team here at Rematch have partnered up with Lost Files to give away one of these vintage shirts to one of you lucky viewers. To enter, all you have to do is follow Rematch and Lost Files on Instagram, as well as comment below your favorite moment from any game with a chance to win. Best of luck to you guys. Let's get back to the episode. But okay, you mentioned something very interesting, right? You talked about at their primes,
Yep.
Wenger and Ferguson was well fought out. You said what, finished 5-3?
I think it's 5-3 in
at their
titles
primes.
changes, yeah.
But I'm gonna ask you guys to fast forward a little bit to this point right now, 2011. It's safe to say Wenger is not at his prime, even if we look past this game. And even the way this season started out for both of these teams kind of showed where the direction for each club was going. I think you look at Arsenal, and at this point, we're years removed from the invincible days. You're firmly in the Emirates era now. And actually, at the start of this summer, you're losing two of your three best players in Fabregas and Nasri, right? That's a big blow to the club. Fabregas has gone to Barcelona. That was the worst kept secret in football, by the way. Everybody knew it was going to happen. But even more damning is Nasri being the latest Arsenal player to go switch red to blue and join Manchester City.
Yeah.
And it's not like the guys who have come in are world-class players. You're not buying world-class players to replace the world-class ones you've lost. Arsenal are clearly in a transition right now. And you started the season shaky even before this game. Whereas United,
That's kind.
they're firmly in their Glazers era as well too, right? You look at the squad that they put out here, and you're looking at Tom Cleverley, you're looking at Anderson, you're looking at Danny Welbeck, you're looking at Evans, Jones, Smalling. And that's not a diss at any of these players, but very clearly Man United are also not going and buying the best in class. They're trying to find diamonds in the rough with a Phil Jones from Blackburn or Chris Smalling from Fulham or a Welbeck from the academy. But United started the season really, really well. I think people forget about that, right? They won the Community Shield against City. They were smoking
2-0 down, right?
Yeah, 2-0 down to 3-2. They smoked smoked Spurs at Old Trafford. They went to Bolton and won 5-0 away. I think they were basically unbeaten to a point before this game. But what makes this game so interesting is that earlier in the day, Man City, who are the new kids on the block and also looking to really stake a claim to this title, had gone to White Hart Lane and beat Spurs 5-1. Edin Dzeko scored 4 goals on that day. And that felt like a moment where, oh wow, Man City are here. They might actually have a huge say in this title. And everyone's now looking an hour or so later to Man United hosting Arsenal. So I think the headline at the time was that City had just beat their London team 5-1. What's United going to do against Arsenal? What's the feeling ahead of this game? First of all, with the knowledge that that's just happened, but also when you look at Arsenal, in your head, is it still, it's Arsenal? It's a team that you have to be careful of.
I mean, as a Man United fan, I think if everybody should have known from 09, 10, 10, 11, how close Man United and Man City games were, that Man City were coming eventually. You know what I mean? They had just won the FA Cup, was it season before? You look about when that 09, when Tevez went there and all of the madness that was going on, Man City were coming. So everybody kind of had that feeling. And when you saw that Man City had signed Aguero that summer and stuff, you just knew, listen, we're going to have to be on it. And I'm going to be honest, going into this season, I was somebody that even in the 10-11 year, where you look at it, statistically, it's a good season. Man United got to Champions League final, but I never thought it was a great team. I didn't really think it was a great team. So going into this year, I wasn't too confident about Manchester United. You know what I mean? I wasn't really too confident about what we're going to do, looking at our squad. But I mean, going up against Arsenal is always a thing. And one thing that I really remember about this day was actually on Notting Hill Carnival. So this game happened on Notting Hill Carnival. And I was like, should I go to Carnival or should I watch Man United Arsenal? And I stayed to watch Man United Arsenal. And I'm very, very happy that I did. But I did think to myself, looking at that Arsenal team, we should be beating you. Because even at this point, that wasn't even your strongest team at the time, let alone, and your strongest team at the time was still quite mid, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So I remember Ferguson going into this game, he said something like, well, if I haven't won the trophy for as long as Wenger had, I would have been out of the job. I remember when he said that, and it was like they hadn't sent digs at each other for a long time, and it was kind of like, oh, okay, like he just threw a jab in there, do you know what I mean? So it was interesting going into this game, but I was confident we'll win this one.
Honestly, where to start? You know, if I asked you to like look back at all your summers and memories in life, you probably wouldn't be able to recall all of them. But the way I can remember this whole summer, because of this game and that period for Arsenal, it's so weird the memories you attach. I remember where I was when we lost 2-0 to Liverpool. I remember where I was when we drew 0-0 in Newcastle, the 2 games before this. I remember that feeling of just checking the news, like who's left now? Like what's happening? What's the latest injury? What's the latest situation that Arsenal having to
Did
deal
it feel
with?
like the club was in turmoil?
Yeah, this is the worst I've ever felt about Arsenal. I know there's Baku, and I know we fell out the top 4 in other years, and we've had dark days. Even Birmingham, only the season before when we lost in that cup final. This was the darkest I felt, and a lot of people won't believe me when I say this. I remember turning to my dad before we watched this game. We looked at the 11, he went, we'll do well to keep this to single digits. And he was joking when he said it, but the way actually by the end I was like, oh, 8-2, we'll take it. No, like, it was, the 11's a shambles. I mean, I'm trying to remember that team. I mean, obviously a lot of players come in, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a bit. But I mean, you can add Alex Song.
Well, you just get Andrew Santos, innit? Andrew Santos, was he?
Yeah,
he came. Remember, he came that summer as well.
I think Kieran Gibbs was probably our starting left back, but Traore was there.
I mean, you look at that fullback pairing of Jenkinson and Amad Traore, man.
That
is dark. That is a really, really bad fullback pairing.
Yeah. I mean, but there are a lot of players in that 11 that I think a lot of you might think I rate more than I did. Chesney was all right at best.
This was Coughlin's debut, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think he actually made his debut this game.
And I secretly thought he was okay. and I wasn't surprised that a few years later...
Was he playing on the wing or something?
Yeah, he started out as a wide man, right? And then he left for a few seasons on loan and then came back and became this hard man.
Germany. And then he played with Cazorla and Ozil. All out. He was all right. But I never rated Ramsey as much as a lot of the Arsenal fan base did. Thank you for the FA Cups, and he's an icon, but I never rated him to the level a lot of players. I think we spoke about this with Miles maybe a few episodes back. Walcott, I never rated the way a lot of Arsenal fans did. And Arshavin was Arshavin would score an amazing goal, pull out some skill, but one of the laziest footballers.
And at this point as well, too, he's finished Arsenal. This is the end of Arsenal.
Yeah,
he had a few good years. I agree.
He played a year after that. He's a squad player after this at best.
So it's really just RVP in a dream.
Yeah, but do you know who I feel sorry for in this 11 is Koscielny? Because, even though he was a shambles in a lot of those goals, because Koscielny, I think he's been so tainted by this, Baku, just other big defeats in our history, like the Birmingham thing with who was it who slapped him on the head? It's just like moments like that. Yeah, he was part of the era. So his kind of time at Arsenal so tainted by all these moments. I actually thought he was a good player. I liked him, but...
I didn't really rate him, I didn't really, I thought...
I can't even argue it.
No, do you know what? I thought he did establish a little decent partnership at one stage with Mertesacker, right?
See, I never rated Mertesacker.
Yeah, I didn't either.
But Arsenal will tell you Mertesacker was the better of the two. I think Koscielny could have played more in the modern day. And he had good battles with Lukaku. And I remember Lukaku once saying, like, no, he's one of the toughest defenders to face. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? Like, Leah says that I'm sentimental, right? But I don't know. As a Man United fan, this isn't even in my top 10 favourite games for Manchester United. I didn't even...
That hurts.
For me, do you know what it is? Like, honestly, at this stage, right, it's like, when we won this game, I was happy. I was trolling Arsenal fans. Oh, I'd hate to be you and all this type of stuff that we used to do. You know what I mean? I'd hate to be.
I remember that.
You know what I mean? Like, so all of that type of stuff.
I was doing the round on
it.
BBM. Did you have
BBM?
I think it was
before
KSI
Twitter.
who made this video about it. It's like, I'd hate to be an Arsenal fan.
Really?
Like,
I didn't even see that.
KSI did it.
I think he's because I remember that's how I heard about it. His YouTube video that week or something was like, I'd hate to be an Arsenal fan or something like that.
Man.
But yeah, like when I look at this game, like I like the games that are close.
Yeah.
I like the games that are fierce. I like the games that have some meaning. Do you know what I mean? I remember going to Highbury and winning 4-2 with in the black kit. I remember when we went to Highbury in the blue kit as well. Van Nistelrooy scored that little dink after leaving Sol Campbell. Like those were the games that, like Arsenal winning at Old Trafford. I used to love that side of of Manchester United, Arsenal. And at this stage now, it kind of started becoming a bit of a sorry case. And it really felt like at this moment, end it. Like, this ain't a rivalry anymore. It started being like, okay, you lot are not even in the conversation. We are now have to focus on the next rival. It's like, you ever watch Dragon Ball Z? You watch Dragon Ball Z? Any of you guys watch Dragon Ball Z?
I did as a kid a little bit.
Yeah, you know, like, listen, okay, Frieza's done, now it's Cell Saga. Do you know what I mean? Like,
No,
Frieza's done.
I should have just said no, I don't.
Yeah, you lot are Frieza, yeah, that's done. Now we need to focus on Cell, who's, you know what I mean? Like, Cell is
Man
now
City.
Man City. So it was like the end of a chapter. And I just thought, great performance from Rooney. We're going to talk about that and stuff. Like, and I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed this young Man United team. But it's nowhere near up there my favourite wins over Arsenal.
Let's go ahead. What were you gonna
Well,
say?
I was just going to say, it's definitely the beginning and the end, but I think the season after was more damning because you'd signed Van Persie. I think you were 2-0 up, and I think we got a consolation because
Yeah,
all I
Cazorla.
mean.
That was honestly, I remember watching
Yeah.
that game the next season and actually thinking this might even be more humiliating than the year before. Not even because it's only 2-1, but they were so just like not even in the game whatsoever.
No.
The Cazorla almost whatever.
Do you remember
time he
Fergie's
turned up.
quotes? I remember Fergie in the post-match. He said, "It's really strange. It didn't feel like Man United Arsenal."
And I think,
that's when I was like, "Oh,
and I think this
man."
might have been the one. Let's start
Yeah.
with this game, right? First of all, this United team is so interesting, right? Because De Gea is a new signing. Chris Smalling was in and out of the team the first year, but he started playing right back for us. Jones and Evans was almost taken over from Vidic and Rio. You had Cleverly and Anderson, which there was a lot of question marks about that midfield. He was playing them a lot at the start, and you got Young, new signing on the left, and Danny Welbeck. Danny Welbeck grabs the first goal of this game. It's crazy though to think how many years later he's still in the Premier League grabbing goals at the level he is. But he grabs the first goal. Shortly after, it's 2-0, Ashley Young vintage goal. And after 40 minutes, it's 3-0 to Man United. A fantastic Wayne Rooney free kick. It just feels so easy.
This was an exciting time in a funny way. Like, as you said, like, it's a young team. And I think the last time we had seen such a transformation from Man United was probably before I was even watching Man United, when there was Eric Cantona and all this type of stuff, and then it went to the class of 92. I hadn't seen that stage, obviously, but this was the first time where I felt it was just a complete revamp of that squad, you know, and you're just looking at Anderson, looking at Cleverly, because Anderson obviously had been part of Man United. He won a Champions League with Man United.
But he'd never been
But
like this
now
ever.
this was kind of the first time where it's like,
Yeah, it felt like we were giving him the
this be your
keys for
team?
once.
Yeah,
Yeah,
can this be your team? So when you're looking at Anderson and Cleverly, you got to remember, Scholes and Carrick are not even in the squad here.
Scholes retired before
The
summer.
Scholes
he came back
retired.
this
He came
season.
back.
But
Yeah. Carrick is not in the squad here, but so you're looking at Tom Cleverly. I had question marks about him. I wasn't too familiar with him. I know he had a few loans,
Wigan, he was quite good.
but
yeah.
I'm thinking, Ashley Young, exciting player.
For me,
you know?
De Gea was the big one, man.
De Gea was a big
taking
one.
over from Van der Sar was
Yeah.
huge, and he started the season shaky.
Yeah,
There's always
yeah.
those moments with De Gea the first 2 years where like,
corners and
"Oh,
stuff,
is he
yeah.
good enough to be Man United's goalkeeper?
Yeah.
Is he
And
too skinny?"
You thought to yourself, often when you looked at Man United, you looked at the names and you thought about Carlos Tevez, Cristiano, Wayne Rooney. And when you're looking at it, you're like, Danny Welbeck, Rooney, Young. On paper, I wasn't like, this is unbelievable. But I'm not going to lie. I really enjoyed this Man United team. And it's a shame that we didn't win the league. A good City team won it. But I really enjoyed Manchester United
They
this
scored a lot of
season. And the
goals this
football we were
season,
It didn't feel like Fergie football. It felt a little bit different. Like, we played some kind of slick stuff.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
I wanted to
this
ask
squad.
you about this. I remember you losing the Champions League final to Barca that summer before. And I remember watching the Community Shield, and I almost wondered whether something had kind of changed for Fergie. Like, almost like, well, this is the way football's gone. And I remember that goal you scored, it might have been the winner to beat City in the Community
It was like
Shield.
no, it wasn't the winner. It was the second one. Where it was like cleverly Rooney, Nanny Dink.
yeah.
I was like,
it was
this
like
is Barcelona.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah,
1-2,
yeah.
1-2, 1-2. Yeah.
I'm not surprised he scored a lot of goals in this
Yeah.
season and had some big wins because it did feel like there was a bit of a switch. There was
Yeah.
a bit of an injection of youth. Anderson was an exciting central midfield player. Welbeck and Rooney just had pace and flair and skill. It felt like a much more dynamic Man
Yeah.
United side. Even Chris Smalling, who's a centre-back converted right-back, he was saying, yeah.
Fergie's ahead of the curve, man.
Yeah. But he's bombing forward.
Fergie
you know,
loved the
it was-
centre back at right back.
Yeah,
though. O'Shea,
Wes
Wes Brown.
Brown,
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
loved
did.
it.
He did.
Even
So
Jones, you would play right back for Man United every once in a while.
times.
Yeah.
it was an interesting time for you guys.
And I think they just couldn't cope, to be honest with you. 3-0. They could have scored more as well, too, in this
should have
opening
six.
exchange. But talk to me about the penalty miss, because to your credit, right, you were saying as well, too, when you watch the highlights back to this game, it's not like United were keeping Arsenal at bay the entire time. Arsenal did have chances. That penalty miss from Robin Van Persie, they would obviously go on to be teammates a year later, but
Cheers, boss.
That's a moment for De Gea as well too, right?
Yeah, it was a big moment for De Gea. You mentioned the double save as well. I think that was quite big. With the start De Gea had at United, yeah, that was a big moment. But yeah, we had chances. But I think this is just the give and take of football. You want to play more expansive football. You want to be 3-0 up at half times. So, yeah,
there's always gonna be on the other
Van
end.
Persie's a quality player. He's going to find chances. I mean, he's missed a penalty, scored a goal. There's another volley that he nearly scored from. I don't know. Arsenal, for all the dross in this team, there were players who were basically told all the time just go out and play. And I think the game. I mean, watching the highlights, I don't know how you guys felt. I just thought we'll never see a game like this today. It just doesn't exist.
Well, you say that we lost 7-0 to Liverpool a few seasons back. So every once in a while, these freak show results happen. I think the problem with Arsenal at that point was that it seemed to happen so often. In this period, you lost 6-0 to Chelsea. You lost 6-3 to City. I'm sure there's a few other games where you just absolutely trounced. It happened too often for Arsenal at this point.
I think from 2000 and I want to say, maybe this might have been the start. There might have been one or two before. Yeah, there was just some batterings that came back to back every few seasons, which is why Arsenal fans, I think, are so defensive about the criticism we get today about the team. It's like, you can't do that to us anymore. We might not be expansive and exciting, but I enjoy today a lot more than I ever enjoyed this.
Let me ask you a question. Do you hate Van Persie for his decision? Can you blame him? Look what he's playing with. Traore, Jenkinson, De Jure, Coquelin,
Ignacy Mikel.
Do you know what I mean? Like, genuinely, how can you hate Van Persie for his decision? Do you hate him for it?
I think do you know what's so weird? I hate Fabregas and Van Persie for it, but I don't hate. Van Persie and Nasri, but I don't hate Fabregas.
I mean, Nasri disrespected you guys. He never rated you guys.
He disrespected us massively.
But Van Persie,
I think there was something exactly. I think it's that. I think it's that whole kind of like it almost framing as always my destiny. It's like, because also people will forget the years and years of injuries. As much
you
as
stood by him for a long time.
That's the thing. We stood by him for years when he couldn't get fit, he couldn't get on the pitch, then he'd be out for months, and then suddenly it wasn't just one. It was 2 really good seasons at Arsenal. And then it was like, I'm good. And I think it's also the contract running down, so we never quite got what he was worth and that kind of thing. With Fabregas, it was the boyhood club thing. With Nasri, he was just...
Nasri was just a mercenary.
Yeah, at this point, though, sure, because I think there was even a quote, was it from Fabregas himself? One of those three was basically saying, like, there's a period at Arsenal, probably the season before this, where Fabregas, Nasri, and Van Persie all just looked at each other and said, is it just us three at Arsenal? Like, the rest of them, no one is on our level. And that's not a disrespect thing, but, like, we're clearly at a level where we could play for any club in the world. And the club themselves are not surrounding us with players of our level or similar to take us. Yeah, I think Van Persie was the one that basically said, I'm looking at Nasri and Fabregas, world-class players. Where's the rest of them?
Well, Fabregas said he kept getting himself on the pitch when he was injured just because he knew how much the team needed him. Whereas now there seems to be this kind of like, oh, you got a slight knock, absolutely don't risk it. It's a complete flip. And on the one hand, of course, I feel, because if you look at it from a professional standpoint in any job, if you feel like you could be paid more here, you could achieve more here, you could...
Because especially Van Persie, right? I think Van Persie at this point is the best striker in the world, in my eyes. I think him and Falcao are really wrestling for best center forward. The years Van Persie had between, I would say, the second half of 10-11...
Better than Rooney.
Yeah, as an out-and-out number 9, I think Van Persie was the best in the world. I think between 10-11 and 12-13, the first season he had at Man United, I think only Falcao as an out-and-out number 9 could chat to Robin Van Persie.
The thing is, with the Van Persie, I feel like, obviously I'm speaking from a point of bias as well. Obviously him coming to United is great, but it was United or City. He wasn't staying at Arsenal.
No, exactly. Juventus were in for him as well,
Juventus, forget about Juventus. He's going to go United or City. City had all the money, and they're going to win him a Premier League. I don't think he's going to Juventus personally.
It's one thing.
He's on the up at that point, Cam.
I don't see him go. I don't see Van Persie going to Juventus. I'll be honest. I think he was going to go to Man City or Arsenal, and that would have been Adebayo, Clichy, Nasri, who else? Kolo Toure.
Sanya then eventually.
Sanya, come on, man. He had to go win a Premier League.
I think that's something that's very underrated about Van Persie's decision. He didn't just turn down City's money. He turned down all the players that went there before and the champions.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's exactly difficult to say no to, or difficult to say yes to say to United or Ferguson, but it was still at the time, it was like, oh, you picked United. That was interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hate him.
Nah, but
not really, because
you can't love. You're never gonna have good feelings for your captain who joined the club that you hate the most. Right?
I sort of just feel this is what I'd love to hear Turkish talk, because Turkish can't stand Van Persie. But I think with Fabregas, he's also a lot more forgiving. I'd love to see where he draws the.
I always find with Fabregas,
difference.
it was like, come on, man, like. He's a boyhood Barca guy. The one thing about Fabregas, I think he started like stopped showing up to preseason and stuff like that. That's a little shaky, right? He definitely forced the move. But at the end of the day, bro, this guy was clearly one of the best midfielders in the world. He's a Barcelona boy. Arsenal weren't going to surround him with enough quality.
Yeah.
Everyone knew what was going to happen.
I didn't even hate the Chelsea move because.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, all the reports are that Wenger turned it down. There was a buyback clause. There was a first refusal.
For
something like 25, 30 million. He went, no, I'm good. Yeah, because we got Ozil.
Yeah. I feel like that was I feel like this fixture was like, you've made the coffee and whatever, but obviously us taking Van Persie from this moment was the nail in the coffin for it. And that was like, this what I'm saying is like from here and in the next season, I just felt like it was the end of a rivalry. I thought it was the end. Now it's starting to spot. Maybe we're the little fish a little bit now, and we get a win at the Emirates and we're gassed about it and stuff. But it maybe is coming back a little bit. But I feel like at that moment it was really the end of Manchester United.
Do you think it was the end of big rivalries? And Mourinho kind of kept it going for a little bit. But I'm not talking on the pitch. I'm talking like
as in that hate,
that fire.
I don't think
because the transmission to Ferguson Mancini, that rivalry was for me is very, very underrated in terms of how much they actually hated each other. I think with Wenger,
I don't think it's spilt out enough. Because
he didn't last long enough. I think if Ferguson and Mancini last long enough, they stay long enough. I think it does. But I just think with Wenger, it became almost apathetic at this point. It's like we almost look down on them. It's like, oh, you used to be that guy.
Yeah.
But
I think sorry, just to interrupt there, but I also think a lot of the time when people talk about this thing, like people don't factor in, you think about what happened when you bring in the Emirates and you think about all these sales. And Ferguson actually said it after that comment that he made about if I had gone that long without winning, I would have been sacked. He then does say losing Fabregas and Nasri is
crazy.
That's unfair on him, right?
But to be fair, he lost Ronaldo and Tevez.
Yeah, he does mention that as well, but it's kind of different because yes, we had the Glazer situation, but Arsenal genuinely could not raise money, did not have the finances to go into the pitch. It was all going into to paying back at the Emirates and all that type of stuff. And I just think to myself, like, I wish, and I'm not even an Arsenal fan, I wish Manchester United and Arsenal, right, like Wenger had left at the Emirates. First, one season at Emirates, then leave. You think about the span of what he had done from 96. Then that 10 years, he'll be seen as one of the greatest, man. If he went off now and went to Real Madrid, but now it's kind of like, people are putting Jurgen Klopp over him and all this stuff. And I'm just like, he just spent too long in a decline because of what Arsenal had to go through.
That's so interesting. So you're talking around 2006-07. And what's interesting for me is I always think that first FA Cup he won back, where the whole one.
Yeah.
I think then that would have been such a good sign-off because, all those other years, I think people would say all the things you said. You're selling your best players, you got no money, but you never fell out the Champions League. You were somewhat competitive. Not
07, 08 you still competed.
Then you walked away with an FA Cup. Even then, even if you just left on that Chelsea one in 2017, but, you'd fallen out the Champions League. There were a few moments to go and he left it way too long, and for some, 10 years too long.
Rematch is powered by our friends at Betway. Betway is your home for weekly free bets, free spins, and so much more. Don't miss out. Head to Betway today. Bet the responsible way.
I want to ask you about De Gea.
Yeah.
Because in that first half, I think you see the best and the worst of him, right? You've seen a great penalty save on Van Persie, which, funny enough, De Gea's penalty was never his strength, but great save on Van Persie, great double save in this game. But then you see Walcott right on the stroke of halftime through the legs, 3-1. Talk to me about De Gea. Talk to me about the early version of De Gea. And did you ever think that even in those early days, he could one day be, at one point, what we considered a top 2 goalkeeper in the world?
I mean, I didn't know much about him, obviously, as an Atleti, but I didn't know too much about him. And when he came in, you're looking at this guy, he's scrawny, he's got the kind of this baby face, and you think about what we had. We had this presence in Edwin van der Sar, who was just so cool. And maybe in the last few years, where he was 38, 39, didn't have the greatest Champions League final and stuff, but he was a cool head, calm, assuming guy, very assuring. And then you look at when De Gea comes in and you're like, goalkeeper's that one position that Fergie had gotten wrong before. Like, it's funny. Yeah. Ferguson was good with signings, but hey, Ferguson hit goal twice with Schmeichel and Van der Sar. But in between that, there was Barthez, there's Roy Carroll, there's Tim Howard, there's Taibbi, there's so many howlers in there. And De Gea comes in, and apparently this was a signing that was not recommended but it was not even, Ferguson went out to go see him, but it was like heavily recommended by scouting. Okay. It was like heavily scouted, reported player, like De Gea as a suggestion. So he signs him, and I'm looking at him, and obviously when you think about the early points where teams are looking at him like, yeah, we're just gonna put some bombs on him. You know what I mean? Charlie Adams and these guys looking at him like, I'm gonna put
City, I remember in the Community Shield, scored 1 goal, Dzeko from like 40 yards, and then Les got off a header that he should have claimed.
Exactly.
First game of the season against West Brom, I remember they scored a goal against us as well too, where you're looking at him. And like, they started purely targeting him on set pieces because of how small he was.
I think actually this game, it's such on the set piece point of it. This game it's kind of David De Gea in
That's what I'm saying. You get the best and the worst of him, right?
It's literally David De Gea. David De Gea is one of the best shot stoppers I've ever seen. Ever. He was genuinely like a human. He was a cat. He was like a cat. But then there was just always something where you're like, could he have done better? Yeah, that goal where you're talking about Theo Walcott, that didn't go through his legs. That went to the side of his right foot.
And it happened a lot.
Yeah, and it's like, what are you actually doing in them situations? And of course, he went on to win a title with Man United the next season, and I guess that was really big for him. But this first season, it required a lot of patience. And let's not forget, there was moments Lindegaard played, actually. You know what I mean? He didn't have it smooth sailing. So in terms of mentality, De Gea was kind of seen as somebody that had a bit of a shaky mentality. But to give him credit, he had to really stick through this period. So I'll give him credit for that.
I don't know if I've seen a better goalkeeper in the Premier League when he was at his best.
Wow.
In the years that I've been watching.
To be fair, since 06, I mean, check
as
Chelsea.
As a shot stopper.
I'm surprised you didn't say
As a shot stopper, I hear it. I'm not going to lie.
As a shot stopper.
As a shot stopper, I think
Czech and Alisson, obviously, incredible goalkeepers. Okay, that was probably a little bit hyperbolic what I said. But what I mean is, I remember him at the Emirates in that when you won 3-1.
Oh, I was there.
He put XG on the map. The XG philosophy account exists because of David De Gea. That day, because there was this new stat coming through. What's expected goals? Suddenly everyone, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Basically,
how many goals you should have scored if there was a regular?
It should have been 7-3. And you won that game because De Gea was. I've never seen anything like it. I remember the Arsenal players actually stopping and being like, what can we do? I remember watching AFTV. I remember the reactions. People just being like,
remember the quote?
No.
David De Gea could save the damn Titanic.
That was it.
And that's what it felt like when De Gea was at his best. It genuinely felt like to beat De Gea when he was in flow state. You know, when he's getting hot. And I always felt with De Gea, that's when he was at his best, when he had a lot to do. When we were dominating a game, 100%. That's when the brain fog happens. But when we're getting peppered, he's the best goalkeeper in the world to have because he just makes 10 saves in a row.
There's a save in here of Van Persie chance there, and he gets down low.
Yeah.
That's a really, really good save when you look at it in this game.
For me, the best was his feet. Oh my God.
With his feet, I've never seen a keeper like that.
Yeah.
With his feet, in terms of saving with his feet,
it was unorthodox.
The best I've ever seen by doing that. Like every goalkeeper has their certain traits. I think Alisson 1v1 is like he's demonic. Like, if you're 1v1 with Alisson, it's a long day. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And you look at Manuel Neuer with the sweeping, and everybody has their thing. But De Gea with his feet, he didn't cover himself in glory with this Walcott chance. But De Gea with his feet was sensational.
Yeah, I mean, I'll wind it back slightly maybe because you've mentioned some other great names. But I felt as a shot stopper.
No, I think he's right up there.
There was something about him. I just thought when he was on it, I went, I think he is.
I don't think that's a bad. I think as a shot stopper, he's the best I've seen in the Premier League. As a shot stopper.
I think you have an argument. I think the problem with De Gea was the other sides of the game.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about the feet, like in terms of passing, which obviously wasn't great. But I don't even think that was the biggest issue of him. No. Genuinely, on set pieces, coming off his line, he from the minute he entered the league till the day he left, it was always a weak point for him, 100%. This game ends 3-1 at halftime. At any point, are you guys still thinking this could finish as a cricket score?
No.
Oh, it was a cricket score?
Not 8.
Damn near.
I was, because we were three, do you remember the time? This was a weird era where we were starting to get high-scoring big games. But I remember Man United Liverpool, like a little 1-0, 2-1 here. And then you had the odd freak game where they beat you 4-1 at Old Trafford, or Chelsea might demolish us. But there was so little in it. A lot of 1-1s, a lot of 0-0s. These big games didn't have a lot of goals in it. So when we were 3-0 down, for me, that was... Today, I mean, there's not as many goals in football today, if it doesn't feel like anyway. Today, that wouldn't be as surprising. But back then, I remember thinking, we're 3-0 down, just pack it up.
But 3-1, you guys scored right before halftime.
Great.
I didn't see 8-2. Yeah, I didn't see 8-2. I didn't see 8-2. I saw a win, of course, but 8.
I saw 6.
8. I don't even know if I saw that because I actually thought like we'll take, you just think, okay, we okay, I was about to say something crazy, but we've like released our steam, right, on this team, right? And then we've released our steam. No. And I just felt at this moment like we might just take our foot off the gas a little bit. Not saying, because it's 3-1, not saying we're going to just chill, but I thought, okay, once Theo Walcott's goal went in a very disappointing fashion, I thought we would maybe just shut up a little bit, Old Trafford, just get the win, get up out of there. But to go and win 8-2 is honestly, it was unheard of at that point.
But we were a shambles, man.
Yeah.
Giroud was never good enough to be a starter for Arsenal. Jenkinson, one of the worst right backs I've seen. I mean, quite a nice guy and a big Arsenal fan, so thanks for that. But other than that, Traore was always third. Honestly, I think he was third choice left back at best. At best, a backup. But I don't think he ever made backup status in the squad, or barely did.
He actually did all right after a while in his career,
Armand Traore.
Armand Traore, yeah.
It was Armand. I can't remember.
That's Armand Traore, yeah.
Armand Traore. I remember his face. I remember he went to play for QPR like a year or two later.
I think he was in Portsmouth for a bit as well. I mean, West Ham, I think it was.
That's his level.
Yeah.
It just wasn't, we've been through the play. It just wasn't a team I rated particularly highly, and we were selling players, and we had a few injuries, I think. And look at that bench. Honestly, at 3-1, I wasn't thinking, all right, maybe you nick a goal. I remember just
damage
thinking,
limitation.
This is embarrassing.
Kind of crazy, though, that within 2 seasons, you end up having Ozil and Alexis Sanchez, though, from this point. You think about it.
So what's this, 11-12? So by
13-14,
By 13-14,
them, right?
we had
14-15,
Ozil, and then
they had both
14-15 we had both. So
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, there's definitely an effect that comes up to this game.
Yeah.
We'll touch on that. Getting into the second half, I think this is where Man United just completely take control of this game. And it feels like every time they go forward, they're up 4-2, 4-3, 3v1s, 2v no ones. Like Arsenal's defense just parted like the Red Sea in this game. And United took full advantage. I guess the ultimate question, what's your favorite goal from this game? There's so many to go. You had Nani's chip, you had Rooney's identical free kicks, you had Young's identical goals, you had a great Welbeck. There's so many goals in this game to pick from.
Ashley Young's first one was great, but especially because that made it 2-0, I believe it was. That was like emphatic. That was like, woo!
That felt like a big moment for Young as well too.
But I really love Wayne Rooney's free kick.
Which one?
The set whip across him. That went.
How many times did you try replicating that in your backyard after that? That one for me was, I always remember the bicycle kick. I must have tried that bicycle kick after seeing it against City a million times. But that one as well too, that was the one I was always trying to do. You roll it, I roll it, you stop, I'm going to try
and you know what's so good about that? It's one of them ones that it's an impossible goal to score when you're playing FIFA.
Impossible, yeah.
You can't score that like that. You know what I mean? You actually can't score in that bottom corner across the keeper like that. So it was just like one of them goals. But I love that one because that just felt like Rooney was just purring, man. He's just doing things now. You know what I mean? This is one of Rooney's best games, by the way. I wish there was, where's these comp makers these days? Make a comp of this. You're going to think this is God on the pitch. You know what I mean? So you look at that. I think Wayne Rooney, it was such an interesting time for Rooney because obviously Ronaldo had left after 08 and 09. So 09, 010, he carried us, right? And I think that's one of the best seasons I've seen from a player, right? And then 10, 11... He's falling out with Fergie and he's all sorts is going on.
He ended the season well.
Yeah, he wants better players. But then he ended the season well for us, as you said, in Champions League with scoring against Chelsea, that run, going to the finals, scoring against Barcelona. And this year, hair transplant. He's looking good.
Look good, feel good.
You know what I mean? Look good, feel good. New boots, tape. You know what I mean? Like, he just felt like a bit slimmer. Go look at Bold Rooney, it's a bit... He had a bit of timber on him, you know what I mean?
But now he's got a fade, so it's different, bro.
He knew I got to look good, you know what I mean? I don't know if Colleen was telling him, mate, you're falling off, you know what I mean? So he came looking slim, he looked good, he had sorted it out with Ferguson.
This was at one point the best start to a season statistically by a footballer in the Premier League. I think Haaland only recently smashed that record because the way he starts a season is unheard of. But Rooney's start to the season, I believe for a long time, was actually the best statistical start to a season in Premier League history.
And you could see it, and as I said, like he just felt like at ease, you know, he felt at peace, you know what I'm saying? And that Wayne Rooney just started so well, and I was just like, listen, with him like this, we can go and win a league. Do you know what I mean? And I just love this performance.
Do you think he felt like the senior and the leader? I mean, you look at that 11, right?
100.
You look at maybe like Evra. That's it, really. Like
it was him and Evra, the senior players.
He's the guy. No centre backs in there. Not a Paul Scholes. Not a Ryan Giggs. Obviously came on. Ronaldo, as you mentioned, Tevez had left. He's kind of the guy.
Yeah.
And I felt Rooney, because he's always praised for being such a selfless player, kind of do what he needed for the team as well as being an absolute star. But there were some of those seasons. You mentioned 09-10.
Yeah.
I think that was a year I remember thinking, like he's kind of the talent.
But you know what?
It's
That
so
season, he
crazy.
doesn't even like it.
Do you know what's so crazy? The thing about Rooney is that Rooney's 2 statistical best seasons, he didn't win the league. And people tend to be like, oh, when Rooney led the team, Man United never won. I mean, we lost on 1 point to Chelsea on the final day. And we lost by the greatest moment in Premier League history with Kun Aguero. This isn't a team that should really be going Champions League finals. This isn't a team that should really
They got 89 points this year.
really be winning Premier Leagues, exactly. And that's because of Wayne Rooney. And there's this narrative around Wayne Rooney that he couldn't do it on his own or whatnot, and he needed Van Persie. Let me tell you something right now, right? How many Premier Leagues did Van Persie win before Wayne Rooney?
Well, when he was actually playing, probably none, right? I don't
None!
know. He wasn't part of the Invincible team, was he? Or?
No, he
I don't
won
think he
none.
was.
How many did Wayne Rooney win before Van Persie? He won 4. Did D Wade need LeBron, or did LeBron need D Wade? I've got a question for you guys. Who needed who? Who needed to be taught how to win? Van Persie needed to be taught how to win. LeBron needed to be taught how to win.
People admit that as well too. I think RVP will admit that going to United almost was like an education and
Yes.
like standards and like what it took to be not just like an elite player but also like an elite champion.
Yes, that's what you need to be around. Rooney, Rio, Giggs. You need to be around real winners. Do you know what I mean? And he understood that. he understood that. So people need to respect Wayne Rooney, because Rooney could have done all these things if he wanted to. He could have carried it. He could have said, "No, I don't even want Van Persie here. Let me just go again. Maybe sign a 10 who can help me score more goals." No, Rooney gets there and says, "Do you know what? I'm gonna help you become a champion." Do you know what I mean? People see it as sideman role. How many people can even play to that level in a sideman role? It's not a sideman role to me. Like, I just see it as a complete footballer doing what he wants to do. And by the way, he loved doing that.
Yeah.
So when they call him a sideman, it doesn't make sense. Rooney loved doing that. The season when he scored the most goals in 08, 09, 10, he hated it. He didn't like it. He didn't like just being a goal scorer.
This is probably, in fact, the role that he played in this game. This is probably his dream role, where he has complete autonomy to go wherever on the pitch he wants to be, whether he wants to drift left, drop deep and receive off his center backs, be in poaching positions, score off free kicks. This is the true definition of a number 10 in the game, playing behind Danny Welbeck. And I think this is when Wayne Rooney felt at his best as a footballer.
Do you think maybe as well you injected athleticism around him? Because didn't you start the Champions League final with Giggs and was it Carrick in midfield? Who were
Yeah,
the
it
two
was
central
Giggs and Carrick,
midfielders
yeah,
there?
yeah.
And then was it
38.
Chicharito
up front?
Right, so immediately you've got Welbeck, Cleverley, Anderson. He probably just felt like, I've got runners, I've got movement, I've got.
And by the way, he was still running at this point as well too. But I just think
no, I'm not saying he needed the legs. But he thrived. He could ping a pass. He could run beyond. He could play a through ball. He could do it. Wayne Rooney was unbelievable.
He's one of the most complete players that I've seen, man. Seriously,
it was such an up and down period at this point, man. As I said, 10-11, he was up and down with Ferguson. Then he kind of feels good this season. Then he goes and falls out with Ferguson again. Then he's threatening to leave again, and then Moyes and United just throw the bag at him. It was such an up and down period for Rooney and United at this stage.
100%. I mean, I even think sometimes, right, like, did we waste the last few years of Rooney's career? Because I think by 15, 16 is when I looked at Rooney and I thought
14, 15 years. I thought as soon as LVG came,
I still think under
LVG.
LVG there was a period where
First season.
Van Gaal was actually running him as like a sole striker that season, and he helped us get Champions League football. I think Rooney ended that year really well, but I think that Moyes year as well too. I'm like,
He was so good that Moyes year, bro.
He was carrying the team at that point.
Deserve
Bro.
that.
Also, crazy stat with Van Gaal. I think that was his first FA Cup he won.
Yes,
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yes,
so
yes.
I mean, I know you
Yes.
talk about wasting the years, but he needed to complete the set.
But I even think like
true.
I'm even
And
looking
won the Europa League
I'm even
with
looking at
Fred
09,
Mourinho.
10,
Yeah.
11, 12. I'm just thinking like, did we waste Rooney in these years?
Absolutely.
He's and I've spoken to Wayne Rooney about
Yeah.
this. I'm fortunate enough to be speaking to my favorite ever United player, and he's literally told me as well too. Like when you're seeing Ronaldo and Tevez leave out the back door for world record fees and huge. And then you're seeing, with all due respect, the players that are coming in to replace him. You do question the seriousness. You're talking about as an Arsenal fan, saying your best players leave out the door and you're replacing them with travesties. I'm sure he's looking at that as well too and thinking, we're on the ascendancy, we're winning Premier League titles, and instead of putting your foot on everyone else's necks, you're almost allowing everybody a chance to kind of crawl back in.
And
City are signing Aguero and David Silva and Yaya Toure, and we're bringing in a kid from Mexico. We're bringing Welbeck from the academy.
And that's at the top level. So imagine how Van Persie feels.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Do you remember when Arsenal were linked with Rooney? Do you remember that?
I don't remember that. Yeah.
This is a really... Look,
I remember Chelsea wanted
Wait,
him
is
bad
that-
with
he's talking about his
Mourinho.
brother Adam, or he's talking about his cousin Adam?
early.
Really?
This might have been-
cousin.
this was around... I think it was around the time we were also trying to nick Suarez. There was just this weird... Arsenal finally discovered money, and all the rumours were just going crazy.
Chelsea wanted him bad. Jose wanted
Chelsea,
him
yeah,
really,
Chelsea
really bad.
really
Yeah.
wanted him, yeah.
Suarez, Benzema, Rooney. What could have been?
Oh, my word.
Chelsea was the second round. It was second time. The first time was Man City. So.
Yeah.
Oh, there's nothing serious.
No, but
I just
Barca wanted. He
remember-
told me. He's told me. Oh, I think this is even documented. Like Barca wanted him. The team with David Villa. He could have
Messi
been
loves
playing.
Rooney. Messi
Guardiola
says
loves
few
Rooney.
things.
I just think if you're a top team, if you're a top manager, if you're a football man, Wayne Rooney is your dream player to have in your team because you could just put him anywhere. You could have him do anything.
And he did move back into central midfield eventually.
Yeah,
didn't
just
he?
like
For a little bit, just doing a little...
a ridiculous footballer, seriously. I mean, we're talking about how good Rooney was at this point. We're talking about how almost all-encompassing he was as a footballer. We've all seen the internet debate comparing himself to Neymar. Where do you guys sit on that conversation? Is prime Rooney better than a prime Neymar?
He put Neymar ahead of himself, didn't he? Wasn't that the little clip that did the round?
The clip that did the rounds recently was him saying he never viewed Neymar as a top player
yes,
to the level as Ronaldo and Messi, to be fair to him. But I'm not really sure yet. I'd love to actually ask Rooney, so who do you consider a top player outside of Ronaldo and Messi? Is that it? Because if so, maybe that's not the biggest diss. But the conversation has really been, was Rooney even more of a top player than Neymar?
I didn't see it as much of a diss because he quite quickly said, like Messi and Ronaldo. So I thought, okay, well then it's up to interpretation or whatever. The internet set on
They
fire.
ran with it. I think he probably said the least controversial thing of all those people on that panel.
Oh yeah, then names started coming out, and I was like,
I'm trying to say Mane and all this type of stuff. I think Neymar at his best is a better player than Wayne Rooney, but he's a better talent as well. I think he's a better natural talent. But I think people, in terms of what you can do on the pitch, right? Neymar has the skill, he has the flair, he has all of that type of stuff. He has the pass. I think Neymar's complete. I'm one of Neymar's biggest fans as well. But I think they were downplaying Wayne Rooney a little bit too much. Yeah. Like the impact of what Wayne Rooney can do at his best is something that Neymar can do at his best. You know, they can win you games. They are match winners. They can grab the game by the scruff of the neck. We've seen it happen numerous times. So I think to myself, like when Man United were going away to AC Milan and stuff like that, and we have Valencia and all these randoms, and Wayne Rooney is winning us these games and stuff, like at their best, they are serial match winners. But Neymar, for me, is the more accomplished player, is the better player. But I think it started getting a bit out of hand in the way they started talking about Wayne Rooney personally, especially because he does view Neymar as a better player than him. And if you are talking about, I know in this, now that Neymar he's not retired, but now that Neymar's kind of bowing out of the game at the moment, there is this kind of feeling that a lot of people who maybe didn't appreciate Neymar as much when he was playing, and now we're seeing who are now classed as top wingers now, we're going back and being like, oh my God, Neymar wasn't Ronaldo and Messi. I'm sorry, he wasn't. And if that's what Wayne Rooney meant, I agree with it. Did he have the talent to be like Ronaldo and Messi? He's more talented than Ronaldo, in my opinion, as a natural talent. But I'm sorry, we let's not try and rewrite history. We grew up saying Ronaldo, Messi, Ronaldo, Messi, Ronaldo, Messi, Ronaldo, Messi, Ronaldo, Messi. It wasn't Ronaldo, Messi. Oh, and Neymar. No, it was Ronaldo, Messi. It was them two. Neymar, nice, come to the party. You want to sit third for the Ballon d'Or? Oh, amazing. But it's Ronaldo, Messi. So if that is what Wayne Rooney meant, he's spot on. It's the Ronaldo and Messi era. Messi's the GOAT, but it's Ronaldo and Messi era. It wasn't Ronaldo, Messi and Neymar era. I'm sorry, it wasn't. And I love Neymar. That's how I see it.
I agree with pretty much all of that. I think my question would be, should Neymar have ever been in that? Do you think for the talent he had, he should have been?
He thinks
in
he's
those
more talented than
conversations?
Cristiano, so clearly.
Yeah, I think he should have. I think he should have. And a lot of people say he played his best football at PSG. Probably did. Maybe you can say he was more involved in the game. He had everything around him. That doesn't surprise me that one of the greatest talents of all time in his prime goes to a worse league. Obviously, he's going to play better football. So I'm not always as moved as everyone else is about his PSG stint. But I just think to myself, if he had continued to grow his influence in that Barcelona team, we saw what happened in the remontada. If we could have got more moments like that, I think Neymar could have ascended into conversations where if maybe he might never have had the consistency of them two, because this is otherworldly, right? But I definitely think he could have been a little bit closer if he had just grown his level of importance at Barcelona instead of going to PSG. And he was a very important player, but guys, just go through his Wikipedia right now. He's playing 15, 18 games per league season sometimes.
I actually think Rooney and Neymar, in terms of talent, I think Neymar's the better player.
Yeah.
I think quality, I think Neymar's a better player than Rooney, just to say that. But I actually think there's so many similarities between the two of them.
They're both seen as they underwhelmed, and they both
100%.
achieved basically everything.
100%. But because of how talented each were, respectively, because they didn't go and do what Ronaldo and Messi did, we then hit them with that stick of being under-accomplished. Where in reality, you look at Wayne Rooney's trophy cabinet, he's won every single thing there is to win at a club level. Even individually, he's won the biggest awards. Neymar, similar. You look at his career compared to most players ever. It's a career that any English player probably ever would dream to have. The guy sat on a Ballon d'Or podium with the two greatest players of their generation. And I agree. I think Neymar is third. He's pretty distinctly third. I think he's below Ronaldo and Messi for sure. But the fact that he could even be in a room with them at any point in his career shows what he is. Rooney is unbelievable. He's my favorite Man United player ever. But I just think, again, in terms of quality, some things that Neymar does with a ball are just
it's just
it's the 0.1% of the 0.1%.
Yeah.
You're so right that there is something so strange about the two of them, where for everything they've achieved and how good they were, almost the individual accolades and the everything they have to show, like the numbers, the records, are almost more impressive than people seem to remember them for. Is that mean? Like I think someone said the other day, like Neymar's Brazil's top ever goal scorer. It's like, well, that just slipped me by. When did that happen?
Pelé,
Do you know what I mean?
R9, Romario,
Right.
Neymar sits at that top.
You know, Rooney as well. Every time a something top scorer in the list
And
comes
this is a
up,
player who,
his name is
by his
there,
own
if not-
admission, wasn't even a goal scorer.
literally, and you kind of stop and go, when did that all happen?
You know what it is? I think it's they're both a case of one being their nation's absolute golden boys, right?
Yeah,
Absolute golden boys, playing football from so young, and then not burning out, but kind of falling off quite quickly. Not quickly, sorry, but their age makes it look like it's quickly. Rooney was playing from 16 years old, and I'll probably say he started to wash up a little bit around 28. That's 12 years of playing at
I even think 28 is a little harsh, bro. He's 28 at this point, I think.
Is he 28 at this point?
I think by 30 is really when
Okay,
Rooney,
fair enough. Let's say 30, right? So that's 14 years, right? Okay, he wasn't in his prime for 14 years. But he was a spoken about golden superstar for 14 years. But because it's 30 or 29 or 20, wherever you start seeing him slow down, it's like, oh, he didn't really achieve much. That's how people see Eden Hazard. Oh, he could have done more. The guy was winning Player of the Year at 18 in France. So it's like, Neymar as well is the same factor. You play so young, and then you play for so long, and then you kind of wash up a bit early, and then people look. I might even be guilty of it with Kylian Mbappe right now. Anything Mbappe does now, I'm like,
well done. You're supposed to do that.
yeah, I'm like, okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not really like I want to see you running past people. I want to see, but he's probably not going to do that anymore. So I might even be guilty of it because he's such a star boy as a young guy. Whereas you look at Mo Salahs and De Bruyne's and stuff like that, who maybe weren't golden child, but they developed into legends. I feel like we look at the wonder kids harsher than we look at the guys that develop into it. You know what I mean?
The media noise and the general expectation can almost exceed what's even like physically remotely possible. And you know, you use some great examples there. I'll take it down a level. Take Raheem Sterling.
Yeah.
You know, he's kind of almost seen as like, oh, it didn't happen at Chelsea, awful at Arsenal.
Yeah.
Where's he playing? I think in the Netherlands now. This guy was like crucial for Man City and Pep.
Yeah.
Won loads of titles, individual awards, great. Showed up for England at
He won
tournaments.
the European Golden Boy
And
at 17.
And he's kind of looked at as like, yeah, he was a good winger. He's a class Premier League winger.
Yeah.
And I don't know, sometimes you're almost a victim of the expectation that came with that early. Yeah.
It's always that. It's the expectation. I feel sorry for those type of players because Rooney for me is the greatest English player I've ever seen, and I don't think it'll be a long time until I see a better one. And maybe this Max Diamond kid might be going crazy, but it's a long time until I see something like Wayne Rooney. Neymar, in totality of a whole career, is probably the best in totality because I saw prime Ronaldinho, but I didn't get to see him coming up as a 20-year-old and stuff. So in totality, from start to finish, you could probably say Neymar as well in my lifetime. But again, because they have so much expectation on them, and because Ronaldo and Messi did set the bar so high, everything just feels a little bit like
Underwhelming.
A little bit underwhelming. But it's weird because you look at like Iniesta and you look at Xavi. We'll never say anything about them.
That's
We will
also
say
because
they
you never
achieved.
thought Iniesta could be
This is what I'm
Messi.
saying.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
You know. So
100%.
there we go.
Rematch is powered by our friends at Betway. Betway is your home for weekly free bets, free spins, and so much more. Don't miss out. Head to Betway today. Bet the responsible way.
8-2. Is this the most shocking result in Premier League history? Or up there, certainly.
I think it's.
What do you think?
I think you're not going to like this. I think the City 6-1
That's up there.
is up there because it led to the title as
And
well.
also because United, again, started the season well. That game,
Yeah.
like, people can look at it and say, oh, City were on the ascendancy, United were on the decline. But when you look at the way both sides started the season, this was deemed like an early title. Like, United were there, man. It's not like
That's
we were
the
15
thing.
points behind them. We were there.
Arsenal were a mess. I mean, as much as 8-2 is humiliating, there's never an excuse. It's not explicable, but there's at least some context to it.
Yeah.
When you lost that day, I remember thinking, oh my
That's the
word.
day the
Like,
tide shifted, for sure.
Yeah, massively. And yeah.
I don't think this is the most shocking result. It's definitely, I think it's tough with Man United 7-0, but I think if you're talking
that's
about pure banter
Yeah.
of a result, I think this is number one. I think like this is a result where, you know, like when Man United fans have nothing to say, it's, oh, we beat you 8-2, man.
Yeah.
Oh, we beat you 8-2. You see, we have
Let's
nothing
call it
to
what it
do,
is. This is the most emphatic death of a rivalry,
Yeah,
in my
easy.
opinion.
Yeah, I agree,
Like,
I agree.
forget about even between United and Arsenal. This felt between Ferguson and Wenger.
Yeah.
This was it. I always felt the Champions League semi-final was a big one as well too, when we went to the Emirates and won 4-1.
Yeah.
But this one, I think when you look at the quality on the pitch between both sides, when you look at the status in the game, Fergie's coming off a Premier League win, a Champions League final, and Wenger is just about clawing top four. This felt like the final
It was the end.
death.
It was the end. I would say it's the most banter result.
Yeah, listen.
When you start feeling apathy for your rivals and not like humiliation, that's when it starts to get sad. When you just look at them and you're like, oh, this is almost, it's sorry now. You know what I mean?
That's the saddest thing about Wenger's end. Fergie got a result like this. Mourinho on that, what was it? 6,000 or whatever it was.
1,000th game.
1,000,
Yeah.
6,000.
1,000 can use 6-0 is insane.
6-0, 1,000th game. But it was also like the manner, like Arsenal would always get red cards in big games.
Yeah.
They'd always just fall apart defensively. There'd always just be some shambles of an 11. I remember that 6-0, like Arteta, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Rosicky, the midfield throughout. What are we doing here?
Apparently, who was it? What player was it? There was a player that said that just towards the end, like, Wenger was just too nice. He was just too nice. He was just too understanding for everybody. The young players, it's too much like, don't worry about it. It wasn't, he never used to scold them. And they were allowed to make these type of mistakes. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Ferguson, I remember Danny Welbeck scored on his debut, I think it was. And then he scored the next game against Derby, I believe. He did a little celebration where he had his arms like this. Ferguson didn't play him for like the next 4 games or something like that. It was something he didn't like that. Like he didn't like that arrogance that he's showing. Like he would step on that type of stuff. Whereas I think Wenger was just very much like
He went soft.
And in a way, like I know it sounds kind of crazy, but like we talk about Pep as like this guy. Pep come from the Cruyff system, blah blah blah. Wenger was a little bit ahead of the curve as well in terms of he saw that football was moving in this direction of these tippy-tappy players and close football and Rosicky and Hleb and Fabregas.
But don't get it twisted. Arsenal were playing the best football in the league, even in their banter era, right?
Easily.
Yeah.
So I look at it and I think to myself, he was a bit ahead of the curve, but he just didn't get the final piece.
Which is so crazy. But you know what the craziest thing for me with Wenger in the latter years, right, is he was always known for his good football, but his best teams were still built on the spine of your Sol Campbells and your Vieiras and your Petits and your Gilberto Silvas. Like Arsenal couldn't be bullied back in the day, and it just got weird to me when I started seeing these great Arsenal teams with Van Persie and Adebayor and Fabregas, Arshavin, Hleb. But then you're looking at the back line and you're seeing Senderos and Giroud. You're looking at Almunia in goal. You're looking at like it just felt. Did you forget that there's another half of the game that you have to play?
I think that's what was. Is it vindicating? I think for Arsenal fans, I remember that time where I put certain players in conversations and you get shut down. Why? Because you're not winning the league. You're not you're not competing.
Well, you had some of the best attackers in the league, for sure.
Exactly. And I think some vindicate. It feels horrible that any of these players had to leave to win trophies with our rivals, and we hate them all for it. But the fact that Van Persie kind of proved, he was at the level we said he was. Fabregas did too. Nasri did too. Kolo Touré. You know, he did at Arsenal, but then also went to Man City. Gael Clichy went to Man City. Even the players that are like, Hleb went to Barcelona. Song went to Barcelona. Like, these aren't joke clubs.
Sanyo went to City. I like Sanyo,
Like, people were picking up our best players. Our best clubs were picking up our best players. So I think there was something of a making there. Like, he had an idea. I mean, if Diaby had stayed fit,
that is one, man.
What a player. If Wilshere had stayed fit. Like, there are players that we talk about that we think, man, just a couple different things go a bit differently. But ultimately, ambition catches up with you in football. I know we had the stadium, but you don't invest, players leave.
Yeah. Diaby is one where I'm just like, that is
player.
the what if. Like, that is like a Pogba type player, bro. Honestly, like, if he was fit at Arsenal, it would have. I think that would have been a transformative player for the club. But
This day ended 13-3 for Manchester against London.
Wow.
Can you deep that? Because I remember that being the headline on like whatever channel I was watching at that point. Manchester 13, London 3.
Yeah.
This felt like at a point, especially because Chelsea this season, they won the Champions League, funnily enough,
Yeah.
but they started really bad under Villas-Boas. It really felt like the two Manchester clubs took a huge leap from the rest of the
But
league.
isn't that what the Premier League isn't that the Premier League? The Premier League is defined by Man United and Man City. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, it's not Arsenal, it's not Chelsea. I mean, Arsenal had a part to play, but the Premier League is red, mainly in the 90s and early 2000s, and it's blue in the 2010s. Do you know what I mean? It's Man United and Man City define the Premier
There's
League.
been two dynasties in the Premier League.
And it's them two.
two different clubs that have had dynasties,
Yeah.
right? And it's United's and it's City's.
Yeah, there we go. And they've got the two best managers to ever manage in the Premier League. So I think, I guess that was just a foresight into what the Premier League was going to become.
Let's talk about the ripple effects of this game, right? We talked about Man United, and you can see already the cracks that are kind of appearing and the team that would end up kind of coming out of this. But I want to talk about Arsenal, because this game, you're talking about alarm bells, and I don't even want to say, this showed ambition, because I think it became desperation after this game, where Arsenal knew, if we don't do something right now, we are going to finish out of the top four easily. I think they finished... They were what, like 17th in the league at one point in the season early on before they
They drew to Newcastle, lost to Liverpool, lost to us in the
Yeah.
start.
So they were like floating towards
Yeah.
They had to do something in the market, otherwise the season was going to be an absolute calamity. And you went out and you bought Giroud, I believe, or was Giroud
No,
the next
that was
season?
the year
That's the next
after.
season. Sorry, it was Arteta.
So the famous
was
five.
it Podolski?
No.
it
So
the
this
season
is
as well,
so
too?
that's the year. Yeah,
The
it's
year after.
So this was the famous. I think Mertesacker,
Yeah.
Arteta, Santos, Yossi Benayoun on loan,
Yossi
Park Chu-young.
Benayoun.
You didn't sign a striker that year. No,
Park
you wouldn't.
Park Chu-young came in.
Shamak was already there.
Shamak was the year before that.
Okay.
There wasn't anyone else you guys bought. No, there wouldn't have
That
been.
no, but then Jovino had come before that and Jenkinson. So I
Jorginho.
think that was the 7. Yeah,
That is
mad.
shambolic, bro.
know.
What?
No, but I remember a lot of them came right after this result. I
Wait,
remember.
Yeah,
What?
no, those 5
Did you
came on
just hear
deadline
them
day.
names,
Yeah,
bro?
those 5 came on deadline
Those
day.
5 came on deadline day. So we lost this game. I remember it so clearly. I remember thinking, Arsenal, when I say we need an overhaul, I don't know how Arsenal are going to do something they never do, but you got to deliver. And these 5 names just started coming through the door. I remember like Yossi Benayoun, what are Chelsea going to do? I was like, get him. It was honestly just fire. I said, we'll have him. I think Arteta took a pay cut to leave Everton. Got him for 10 million. Mertesacker, I mean, at the time he was a German international. I was like, great, bring him in. It was crazy. Andre Santos, I went, Brazilian left back, bring him in. Because I've just seen what I've seen. And look, most of them didn't work. But it
Did
was...
anyone work? Did you call Arteta?
Arteta was
Arteta
fine.
worked. Arteta was decent for Arsenal.
It's alright,
Arteta was
it's
fine.
alright.
In all seriousness, Yossi Benayoun, that second half of the season, just did his bit for top 4. Thank you very much. Like, he played some big performances against Chelsea and I think Tottenham. Mertesacker.
It's not the first time he got you top 4, huh?
What's that, sorry?
It's not the first time he got you top 4. If you know your Premier League history. It's not the
What
first
else
time.
did he
What
do?
did he do?
When he got them top 4 when
West Ham,
Spurs.
yeah, against Spurs, yeah.
Spurs.
Okay.
Got you guys top 4 on the final day with his goal against Spurs. Anyway,
He,
historic.
I mean, obviously, like,
You weren't at Carnival that day.
Yo.
Notting Hill.
the thing with this group is, to be fair, a good few of them went on to win some FA Cups, so we hadn't seen a trophy in 9 years. So I genuinely thank them for that. Like, Mertesacker had big moments in that. Arteta certainly did as well, but...
You said
Yeah.
it's a good ripple effect. What's your Arteta theory?
Well, listen, thank you guys for the title, is all I'm saying. It's just like, without you guys, I don't know if we'd be here.
What? So you're saying this result is low-key one of the best in Arsenal's history?
It's why this result is why we're about to see a 3rd dynasty.
Oh,
Yeah, you guessed
I
it,
know.
yeah.
I had
steady,
to.
mate. Start it first, right?
I'll just take one, just one title. Just one, please, just one.
It is crazy though that
Yeah.
the manager that looks like he's about to restore, he has restored Arsenal in one way, but restore them really in terms of winning silverware,
We hope.
comes from this game.
Yeah, no, but Arsenal would never have signed Arteta, and he would never have had that link, connection, affinity to the club, because Pep would have picked him up anyway. You know,
He could have been doing that at Everton right now, man. He could have Everton on the cusp of the title at the moment.
Honestly, you know, we joke, but absolutely, there's quite a direct ripple effect there. Like, we would never assign these players. And also...
You know what's crazy too? Mertesacker's your academy coach too, no?
No,
Yeah,
anymore.
he just left. But yeah, and
his impact though.
He did a really good. Yeah, he did a really good job. Yeah, 3 little
Len.
stars there.
So if you could have this result back again, you'd do it. You'd do it all over. How
yeah.
it's supposed to.
Look, you're all welcome to the parade.
Yeah.
And we can all rewatch this. And then we can watch deadline day coverage. You know, outside Harry Redknapp with the cars and everything as Mikel Arteta's arriving. We can look
You guys,
back at
you
a
don't
time.
know that a new dynasty's coming, right? And he wasn't even in this squad either.
Well, Carrick.
Come on, man. You know how it goes, right? Carrick analysed this game and he said, oh, this is how you play patterns. Have you not seen how he's using Cobby like Anderson and cleverly like...
Cobby like Anderson.
You're not seeing it.
my word.
I'm seeing it. This is what I'm talking about. So you had the last 3, we got the next 5, man.
I would love a
We got the
new.
next 5.
I'd love a new Man United Arsenal era.
I think
I
it's
would love
coming.
it. I
It's
think
coming.
listen,
It's
the
coming.
internet needs it.
Yeah.
The Premier
I think the
League
Premier League
needs
misses
it.
it.
It's coming. I'm telling you, it's coming
Content
back.
creators need it.
I always tell Arsenal
We
fans
need it.
this, right?
It's coming
Obviously, United fans hate Arsenal. Arsenal fans hate United. No one wants to see them succeed. But deep down, the Premier League is at its best when those two clubs are at the forefront.
agree.
Even in these little periods where it's hinted at coming back. Remember with Ten Hag, his first season, where
Yeah.
there was like a few games where, if they beat Crystal Palace, then they go to the Emirates, United might be in the title race.
Yeah.
And then obviously United breaking Arsenal's unbeaten run at home for the longest, most recently.
Yeah.
I just think the Premier League is at its most interesting when those two sides are at the forefront. I truly do.
I think
It's what
so
the Premier League was built on, man. It's what the Premier League, when the Premier League really became the global league, it was when Man United and Arsenal were at it. When Sky put all that money into the Premier League, Manchester United and Arsenal were the two teams going for it. Now, okay, the globalization came when Chelsea, Abramovich and Chelsea came around. I'll probably say that's when the Premier League became the strongest league in the world. But when the eyes of this country, when it started becoming the most broadcasted league in the world, it was Man United and Arsenal, bro. It was Man United and Arsenal.
I don't know if I'm doing too much here, but do you ever see, like, when you're watching Arsenal versus Man United and you see the scoreboard, it just feels nostalgic. I don't know why. It's just like this is a big game.
Yeah.
And I know, like, when we played Chelsea recently, and I grew up. So you talk about the rivalry with you guys. I grew up tormented by Chelsea, just always dunking on us. The things Mourinho would say. Then he came back and did it again. They were winning titles. They won the Champions League before us. I went to school in Southwest London, all Chelsea fans. So they tormented me more. But we're at a point now where when we play Chelsea, even when we beat them the other day 2-1, it just, cool.
Yeah.
Because it feels like that rivalry is so defined by where the teams are.
Yeah.
Whereas whenever we play Man United, there's still this sense of like, we sit forward playing FIFA. It's just there's that sense of, okay, no, but you. And when we lost 3-2 to you guys the other day, look, we were still like in a good position in the title race, but it just hurts so much more. So there's just still something about these two.
Yeah.
Both wear red, north, south. I don't know. There's just something.
It's just it's super nostalgic, man. I remember that. Do you remember that song?
Yeah.
That's on FIFA, bro.
But they used to have that on Sky before Super Sunday. They'll have it, man. It's
When it was
unbelievable.
Grand Slam Sunday, do you remember? They'd have
Thank
Chelsea,
you. I'm
Liverpool,
about to get there. Boom, they'll be like, we've got Manchester United, Arsenal at 2 p.m. and then we've got Liverpool v Chelsea at 4. I'm like, we're in for a
Look what they
feast.
took from us.
The greatest
Look what they
thing.
took, man. Oh,
No,
man.
Grand Slam Sunday was unbelievable. And
What a
like,
time.
Even when we were starting to like enter a banter era,
Yeah.
like we hadn't got there yet before this, maybe 2 years before.
Yeah.
We'd still nick wins off you at the
Yeah,
Emirates.
what was that
Nasri,
game?
couple goals.
Nasri, that
There was one Ramsey beat us at the Emirates.
Yeah, he came in last minute for Fabregas. So we would still at least get something out of that. But from this point,
What's the most 2011 thing from this game? The game that just screams, you knew where you were at this point.
2 things for me.
Yeah.
It was the beginning of the hair transplant era.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Hey, Rooney set pace. Everyone
Trendsetter.
started getting hair. Charlie Adam got on there. Everybody got on the hair transplant after a while. So I'll say that. And also the boots. Them Preds, the T90s that Rooney was wearing. Iconic. Rooney with the T90s. Fernando Torres with the T90s. Iconic. And then, the boots that Van Persie was
Preds,
wearing, right?
yeah.
Those Preds, they just took off, man. I absolutely love those boots as well. So I would say that's the most 2011 thing. The boots and the hair transplant era.
What about you?
Oh, wait, hold on. He inspired you, huh? You got the hair transplant.
I don't, but I mean, that's soon.
Yo, you're
No, that's all right. Yeah,
That's a compliment, low key.
That
That means that he thinks your hairline's quite good.
Remember I saw you one time. No, let me tell you a background story.
So that's a violation, but let me tell you, good. You want to be known to have a hair
I'm telling
transplant.
I wasn't sure whether to dash and leave.
You know what, yeah?
To give
Let me
him a
tell you the
hug.
background to this. I saw James one time outside DR Studios, and I was like, bro, you're looking good, bro. Like, you were at one stage, I thought you would get falling off a little bit. You know what I mean? You've lost weight, bro. You got your hair back. And he was like, listen, been through some things. And I was like, good to see. I actually thought it was a hair transplant, but hey,
Wow,
fair enough.
this guy is
You
just
see what stressed out to people, though, huh? That's happened to me before, though.
Do you know what the secret was, right? Post breakup, I started running. And I just pulled my hair forward.
There we
turns
go.
out you can hide a lot when you just grow up. It's amazing what you can do. And I think it wasn't just that. I remember someone left a comment once being like, this guy's hairline. I thought, okay, we're going to Australia. We're growing it out. And here we are.
No, you don't need it, man. You
And
don't need it.
now he thinks I've had surgery.
Bro,
So,
I actually
thank
thought you had a transplant. Hey,
Thank
there
you,
we
man.
go,
I'll take that. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
but-
Rooney inspired me in some way.
Culture cams, everybody.
My last ever video.
Hey, listen, that's a compliment. That's a
Yeah,
compliment.
no, it is. I'll take
Hey,
it.
yo,
There's a
that's
clip.
so
There you
funny.
go.
I feel like the next question I got is pretty straightforward. I think it's a very obvious answer for probably both of them. If you could take one player from each current side and put them in... no, if you could take one player from each of the sides in 2011 and put them in their current side today, is it just as obvious as Rooney and Van Persie?
Yeah, I think it is.
You sure
That's
you don't fancy a little bit of
I don't want-
Armand Traore at left back
I
instead
don't
of
want any of
Calafiori?
those jokers. Do you know what's a better question? Which one of these Arsenal players would even get into our squad?
Ooh.
Oh, true. Okay, yeah.
Genuinely.
And your squad. Does Walcott get into the 25?
Squad? No, not for me.
He doesn't get into the squad.
By the way, lovely guy.
He doesn't get into the squad. Is Walcott too dissimilar to Gabriel Martinelli? Yeah, he's Walcott.
Plays on the. They're so
Different sides,
distinctly
okay, yeah,
one
first,
left,
yeah.
one right.
Yeah.
Like,
You're taking Madueke over Walcott.
probably not.
I think
But
Walcott can
Walcott
get
won't
there.
know that, though. You don't
Walcott's a
know
good
that. No, but
finisher,
Walcott can
good
get-
delivery, great pace.
I think Ramsey can get in the
Arteta would
squad
probably
as well,
like
too.
Walcott.
Yeah.
Okay, Walcott maybe, but he was. I do think it was quite
Shawnee,
overrated.
bench? Or is you got
I think
Mascara
center back,
and,
they're healthy.
Mascara and Henkafi?
He can back up to Gabriel.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Ramsey can get in Arsenal's midfield. Not starting, maybe.
I'm taking Ox. I like Ox. I always thought Ox
But
was
Ox
a
at this
good
point
player.
is young. Ox at this
True,
point is
true,
inexperienced.
true.
I'm saying at this point, I think Ramsey gets in the Arsenal team.
Prime Ox, Van Persie, Walcott, and Koscielny. At their best, they're the only four that make the
Ramsey's
squad.
not making the squad.
No, they make the squad.
Okay, Ramsey's
Yeah.
one too.
So Ramsey would at his best. But I think honestly, with Ramsey, you take his two best seasons. Unbelievable, complete central midfielder. Had goals.
13,
good off
14
the
was
ball.
special.
So
Yeah,
good.
special.
Wins us the FA Cup. And then I think a couple of years after that, he rediscovered his best a little bit again. And by the way, I always caveat by saying to come back and have any kind of career after that injury, you have my respect.
Definitely.
But I think people reflect on his 11 years like there was some magical 11 years. There's a lot of seasons in there where I just, but again, to have the career he did after the injury, he has my respect. But his prime, his prime probably gets into our best 11. Maybe his prime. Ramsey?
Oh, and like your current best 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His best better than
yeah.
Zubimendi's best we've seen in Arsenal.
Yeah,
shirt.
no, I
Yeah.
know. No,
so-
13-14 Ramsey
you
was
mad?
special.
Ramsey was-
13-14
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Ramsey was special. We think of 13-14 because Suarez.
Top player.
The way he
Yeah.
started that season, I was like, oh my God.
He's
bro.
like Lampard
Yeah.
reborn or
Yeah,
something.
it was crazy.
Yeah, you move Rice back and there you go. You got your 8.
Yeah.
But there were too many years that were a bit disappointing otherwise. But
Yeah,
you know,
I hear
there's
it.
not many. I mean, and I put it out to
Rosicky
the
at his
squad.
best was a good
Nah,
player.
that was a terrible
Rosicky
squad,
at his best was really good.
But can I say even Madueke? Like I think ball to feet, he does more with it than Walcott. Walcott was
I agree.
a great
Yeah,
finisher,
Walcott, yeah.
good ball into the
he
box.
was a good finisher. That's true.
And had really good pace, that running behind, but the space isn't there anymore. Madueke,
Yeah.
give him ball to feet, he's going to do more against a fullback.
I agree.
Yeah,
I mean, this United team. I mean, who would I take?
I think a lot of them.
Yeah, I'd take.
Well, let's look at them at
Which
this
is
current point
weird,
though, because
yeah.
De Gea,
Yeah, at
De
this
Gea or
current
Lamens.
point.
I'm thinking current Lamens. De
Are
Gea was
you?
a liability at this
Yeah,
point, bro. I
okay,
love De
fair.
Gea for what he became, but this season,
Yeah.
I wanted to pull my hair out.
Yeah, it's
I needed
true.
a hair transplant after this year, man.
That's
And I was
true.
about 12.
Yeah.
But,
That's
Careful, he's gonna
that
think
should
you
be
got
the
one.
title of this episode. Hair transplant talk.
I think saying you got a hair transplant, if you don't have one, that's a compliment,
that's a big
man.
praise.
Tell me I got a hair
Listen,
transplant. I'm
thank you.
not there
Big
yet.
praise. I'll take
But
it.
Nani for me was unbelievable, man. Honestly, I think
Nani easily starts.
Oh my, I love Nani, man. I know he's inconsistent, but I actually think people now are starting to underrate how good he was when he was at his best. Nani, when he was at his best, was unplayable. I truly believe
Nani
that.
would start on our right wing. Easily.
Rooney, of course, we spoke about him.
Ashley Young starts on our left wing.
Evra as well too.
Ashley Young starts on our left wing. Evra at this stage. Rooney, obviously.
Yeah, Rooney, obviously.
But then even on the bench, like...
Oh, the bench. But the thing is, the bench, they're all at varying points in their career. So, like, Chicharito would get in the team.
Yeah, Chicharito will be in the squad. I would still... Bro,
Rio rolled back the years the following season, 12-13. Rio, he rolled back the years the following season. He didn't have a great... He didn't have a great... Yeah. Him and Vidic were out for most of it.
I mean... What, is Kobe Mainoo...
No, hold on.
better
We're even... Let's be real. Phil Jones is getting into Man United's career.
I was going to ask.
No, Phil Jones was class at this point. Evans, I wasn't a fan of his first stint at United. I preferred him when he came back.
Chris Smalling, Dallo? I know Smalling was never a right back.
I think Dallo's better, personally.
Smalling at right back.
Yeah, fair.
I think Jones gets into our team.
Yeah.
Jones gets into our team for sure. And Evra. Yeah, there's a few.
Giggs, I still have Giggs.
Oh, yeah. Giggs at 45, he can get into the team, bro.
It says a lot about how much football's evolved. This is a United team that lost it on the final day.
Yeah.
Compared to a United team that aren't near the title. And it just like, I do think something that gets missed, like the standard of the Premier League now, maybe not in terms of a day-to-day product to watch, but the quality through it. You
see, I don't agree. Let me tell you why I don't agree.
Go on.
Because I was telling Cam this earlier. The fact that Danny Welbeck is still banging in goals in 2026 when he was honestly just an average player in this team shows me
It's
that
a fair way to look
I
at
don't
it,
think
yeah.
football has moved as much as we think it does. I think sometimes we get caught up into it, but at the end of the day, I just think Welbeck, I would never have looked at him at this point in his career and thought, oh, in 14 years or so, he's still going to be in consideration to make the England team. So when I'm looking at him, damn it, what does prime Ashley Young look like in this league,
Do you think it's gone like from ceiling to floor, it's just gone like this?
Yes,
It's just
that I definitely
compressed.
think.
Yeah,
I think the worst teams in the Prem are definitely better now than they were back in the day. You have Brazilian internationals playing for Wolves. I hear that, even though that tells you where Brazil is at. But when I look at the top, I mean...
Yeah, I get you.
I'm not like blown away by it. I think if you had told me, oh, that period where City were hitting 97 points or whatever, and they had Bernardo and Gundogan and Rodri in front, then I'm like, okay, hold on a minute. Like this United team's not getting near it, right?
Yeah.
But when I look at it now, I'm looking at the City team. I think City fans would probably look at their 11-12 team compared to their current City team and say, yeah, gets in that team. Gareth Barry probably gets in that team. Kolarov at left back. Hell yeah.
Company.
Yeah. So I think it depends. Like I don't look at the Prem right now and think they have like, with all due respect to your Arsenal team at the moment, who are deserved winners if they win it. I don't look at the Prem right now and think there's some untouchable team that teams of the past wouldn't be able to get near. I don't.
No, there's even Arsenal's 07-08 team, right? You had some players, man, that would start for your current team.
We had some.
If your backline is certified, you know what I mean, and the bench of your backline as well, certified. I'll give it David Raya because you guys were never really great at the goalkeepers. Almunia
And then
and
Rice,
stuff.
of course, as well too.
Declan Rice. Man, you're looking at Cesc Fabregas. You're looking at Adebayor, Van Persie, Caleb. Bro, these are starters for this current Arsenal team.
100% like that.
Some of them type
From
of man.
2006
Nasri,
to 2008-9, we were kind of like, we'd every year we'd have 3 10s in the squad.
Oh no, Wenger is for me the original creator of the wing fielder.
Yes,
he's the original creator of these 10s who play out wide.
Go back all the way to 2002. If Ferrot Perez was that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Goal scoring winger was the first one in England.
But I'm talking like wing fielders. Like I'm talking like Nasri, who's like clearly an 8 playing out wide, and Rosicky playing out wide. I think Wenger is really the one who introduced that.
Yeah, facts.
What's one question you could ask to a player involved in this team or in either team if you had the chance to?
So what? You ask a Man United player?
No, you can ask anyone you want in this game. Just ask them a question. You're an interview for the day.
I would ask Jenkinson, how did you get to this level?
What's wrong with you, man?
Okay.
You would not ask him that.
Yeah, genuinely.
How did you get to this level? How did you get to this level? Okay. I would ask Van Persie, is this the moment? I would ask Van Persie, is this the moment you said I'll
do one more year and then
this is it. That's probably what I would ask.
I reckon this is one of those moments for him where he's probably thinking, hold on.
Yeah, I would ask Van Persie that.
Can I ask Wenger?
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a million questions for him from this game. But I mean, one of them would be like, because he never compromised on his footballing philosophy. I remember one game at the Etihad we won 2-0, but that was like the only time I felt he ever did. I would just be like, really? Like, was this not the time to change something? Was this not the day where you thought, my word, it really has got... No, it's not all his fault. I think one thing we haven't done probably is give enough credit to Wenger for he would go through this and then still win 3 more FA Cups.
Oh, you made top 4 this year. You got to give him credit for that.
We made third.
Yeah.
I think we finished third. We climbed up the table unbelievably. And actually, he was able to turn things around in a way that was more than respectable. But this was definitely a game where I would think, what was he left with after this?
Yeah.
Is this the most humiliating defeat in Arsenal's history?
Oof. It's been a few, huh?
Rack your brain real quick.
Like Baku, because it's a final. I think it's always the ones where they really mean something. And so I know this was 8-2.
The way they say Baku is like, it's
just the location.
It's like doomsday, man.
It's like just us saying Moscow, you know what I mean? But Champions League final, it's Baku.
They never say, oh yeah,
they never say the
final
4-1
is Baku.
Yeah. But how quickly did you know?
No,
I said Baku, you went, oh yeah, no, 4-1
like,
Chelsea. I remember that Hazard final game.
It's like Constantinople,
Bro.
Well, I said this is the lowest I've
Chernobyl,
felt.
sorry.
I said this is the lowest I've felt, so yeah, I'd say so.
This one, or Baku, you say?
No, this was the lowest I've felt because this is so bad. You get desensitized. So when we got battered by Chelsea again, it was just another battering by Chelsea. Or just another battering in general. So there we go. Yeah.
This has been a very therapeutic session, I think, for James. Maybe a celebratory one for Cam. Man United 8, Arsenal 2. One of the most damning, shocking results in the history of the Premier League. It's been an absolute pleasure going down memory lane with my 2 fantastic guests here. Guys, as always, make sure to like, share, subscribe to Rematch. Stay tuned for all of the latest episodes set to drop. It's been myself, Lias, your host. I'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace.